If you are a coach, course creator, membership owner, or any sort of online educator, and you want to start or grow your audience in 2025, this video is for you. Hi there, my name is Evelyn Weiss and I've made over 6 million in online sales, and in this video I share with you exactly what I would recommend to myself if I had to start from scratch today, which also coincidentally is exactly what I am doing right now. So what I'm sharing with you in this video works whether you're a beginner, you're just starting out in your audience growth journey, or you are already further down in your journey. All right, now without further ado, let's jump right in. So what I'm really proposing for 2025 is a trifecta of platforms, of channels that work really well in conjunction for growing a highly targeted audience of potential buyers. All right, so the trifecta consists of Skool, which basically represents the social arm of the trifecta, then email, which always has to be a piece of the equation, and if you could only choose one channel, most sophisticated, established, long-term successful online educators would tell you this is the channel to go with, because reducing your risk, being able to reach your customers at any point in time, increasing your profitability. And then also YouTube. This year I actually made a mistake and I unlisted a ton of old YouTube videos, and I was seeing the impact in my business of missing YouTube as the accelerator to know, like, trust, and buy. So all of those free channels, they work well in conjunction, and I want to start diving into Skool a little bit. So my journey with Skool started last year in January when I saw Alex Hormozi wearing the hat. I dove down the rabbit hole. I learned about the platform. I learned about the games. I decided that I want to compete in the challenge with my business partner, Jessa Bellman, and we actually came second with $81,000 in new monthly recurring revenue added on the platform in the February games. Ever since then, so end of January, you can see this here on my activity line, I've been building my audience on Skool. And within this year, I've been able to grow my audience on Skool to 8,700 members, right? Or followers basically on the platform. This means that when I'm posting in a group where they are part of, they'll receive a notification, right? So these are people that have seen me in a community, liked what I had to share, and decided that they want to keep being up to date with what I have to share. And the reason why I value this so much, because I know that some of you might say, well, I've been able to grow a much bigger audience much quicker on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. I value this audience so much because this is my exact ideal client. And if you're an online educator, it's also your exact ideal client, because on Skool, there are online education enthusiasts and buyers. Those people are on Skool either because they have their own Skool community, meaning they are an online educator and they value online education, or because they're a customer of someone and so they are also buying online education, right? And if you know anything about buying behavior in this space, it is that people who buy online courses tend to buy online courses, right? Not only for the one thing, but also for the other thing. I actually was in a one-day event in Vegas, and there they revealed to us how many new people join Skool every day. It was a surprisingly high number. And then they also shared how many community purchases there are every day. And it was also a surprisingly high number. But the ratio told us that there are many people on Skool who join more than one community. And to me, that's actually not surprising, because I also noticed that online education buyers are online education buyers. This is why this audience is so valuable for me, because I cannot tell you the amount of times when I had people joining my program who are basically TikTok famous, but they don't see any conversions from there, right? So it's not only a matter of building an audience, even building an audience around the right interests, but building an audience of people that actually want to buy online education if you're an online educator. I think that only makes sense. Now, how did I grow this audience? There are basically just two ways in which you can grow an audience on Skool. One is by commenting, making highly valuable and supportive and helpful comments. The second one is by making your own posts, right? So there's communities like my own, Grow with Evelyn, which you can see here. I do have people in here who contribute value, and they basically start to build an audience off of my audience, right? And if you can see, these are 2,500 people in my paid community. Those are people highly interested in selling, digital products and online courses and memberships and growing a school and running ads. It's a highly targeted audience. So if you have a similar avatar and you can build an audience based off this group, it's right in my buyers, right? So it doesn't get more targeted than that. It doesn't get more efficient than that. And if you're somebody who has no budget for marketing, If you want to make an effort and share content and be valuable anywhere, well, why would you not want it to be in the heart of where your potential buyers are living? So when you join communities on Skool, if you are contributing value in a really meaningful way, right? So you're supporting what the group community owner is doing and you're not withdrawing from it. You're not just going and you're posting the same like value post in every single group, right? You don't want to do that. You want to be a genuinely helpful member of the community. They will actually let you and appreciate that. Same happened to me being a member of other communities, right? And I even had community owners approaching me, and I was able to give guest talks in their community because while we have the same audience, we have complementary products that are not in competition with each other, right? So this is really the beautiful about Skool. There's so many communities about all different kinds of topics, potentially your niche as well. If not, even better, then you can be the first one with this niche on Skool. But there's so many communities where you can directly be in front of your target audience. And there's also two overarching communities that you can benefit from. And these are the ones how I mainly grew my communities. One is the Skool community. So this is about Skool as a product. And you can always see in any community what is appreciated by looking at the categories up here. Right. So here in the Skool community, other than podcast interview, which is Skool stories, the Skool podcast interviewing you, or you were interviewing someone from Skool. The other category, which I think you'll most be using when you try to grow your audience on Skool, is how I use Skool. So I would probably put them under product feedback when I'm posting this. And this is ways in which you are using Skool as a user or as somebody who is growing their online education business on Skool. If you can't really find a meaningful post topic, something to put in, you can just be a really helpful person in here because there are a lot of people who are asking questions, right? And there's no Skool team that goes in and says, this is our methodology and here's how things work. So if you are an online educator and you're really, helpful, then you can go in here and you can just contribute value by answering people's questions and supporting them in the comments. And this is a really, really good place for you to build audience just for being a helpful member in the comments. I personally have used the Skool community a little bit to grow my audience, mainly when I shared how I'm using Skool to grow my business. I've been much more active in the Skool games community where we can share wins, where we can share how we build community, how we drive traffic, how we monetize, and even, fun things like banter. So I've in here made a lot of posts, and the main post categories, what I did in the Skool games is, again, my experience with Skool, right? So here I just shared, for example, what I'm thinking about the price point of Skool. This post actually got 1,200 likes and 659 comments. So it really sparked a lot of conversation around this. And of course, this is just getting me in front of people, right? So, people are start to look you up, and that's when they follow you, especially if they see that you also contribute other helpful posts. For example, I also made like a beginner's guide to running ads for them because ads has been a really big part of how I have been growing my Skool. This is actually an interview that they did with me, but I also have made many posts about running ads here in the community because that's the driver of traffic for me. So here you see, for example, I shared all my winning ads and formats here with the community, and I also embedded a YouTube video here. So that's the second tip, right? So I told you we would want to use the channels in conjunction. A lot of what I actually use the communities for is to share my YouTube videos that are relevant for the community. No matter whether you're contributing in the Skool games community, Skool community, or in the community of someone, it's absolutely fantastic if you can include a video because it will help with the trust and with getting to know you, but it needs to be relevant for that specific community. So always try to think how you can present it, and even better if you can be a valuable member of the community and you can identify a need and then create a video to specifically address that need in the community. So you can see a lot of the posts that I have made here, they're just sharing YouTube videos that I did. Here, for example, I was also celebrating that I participated in the Speedrunners, which was a competition. And I also used this opportunity to say, here is my secrets to infinite energy for things like the 100, right? So you see that this is not 100% like only Skool relevant, right? This is a video about how I avoid feeling burned out when trying to grow my business, but I found a way to make it relevant for the community. And so that's something I always would encourage you is there's always ways to make it relevant for the community. Immerse yourself, be a valuable member, and they will become obvious to you. Okay, so this is how you can basically build an audience on Skool. Like I said, it is truly so valuable because it is online education buyers. And please don't think that they all just wanting to buy, business. Of course, making money and growing your business is important, but there also are communities around fitness, around personal development, and they're coming new categories basically every single day. And I know a little bit behind the scenes of how they also plan to incentivize that. So I really think with that broadened focus, we will see Skool drive and going really, really big in 2025, which is why, I'll keep showing up there like there's no tomorrow, because it is just right in an ideal audience of an online educator, because this is people who are buying online education. And it is also doesn't have like an algorithm or anything like other social media platforms. So here you can really win by being helpful. And I think that's so cool, because I personally get frustrated. I actually stopped for a while now posting things on Instagram, because we would put so much time and love into these posts and barely anyone would see it. And not a lot of people would appreciate it. But I also understand it, because it's basically like going in with a spray gun, because on Instagram, people are for all kinds of reasons, right? Not just online education. Although that might feel like this for us if we're there for online education, right? And it's our curated feed here. So I really love that this is not spray gun or anything. This is really in the heart of where our audiences are. And we can typically find a community where we can become a valuable member that's even closer to our niche. And if you can't find it yet, well, then that's good, because you just found, potentially a gap, especially if your thing is already working outside of Skool. So Skool for me is the social media channel that I'm focused on in 2025. This is to really get more people to know me, right? Then I have the goal of growing my email list. I shared exactly why and how in this video here, so I don't want to repeat it. Just go check out the video about why and how I'm growing my email list. Now I also want to talk about YouTube. So after I won the Skool games, I actually decided that I want to start being very consistent on YouTube and have a podcast. And so I got the recommendation that I should unlist my old YouTube videos because they're quote unquote not professional, right? And so I did that. And over a few months, I've noticed like a drop in my sales, and I noticed a drop in the churn rate. So in the sense of like the churn went up. I was not understanding what went wrong. And it wasn't until I started uploading on YouTube more frequently again, beyond the podcasts, because while the podcasts are interesting for people, they're not really connecting with them on the level of, this is what I'm up to, this is what's working, I'm giving you insight, I'm helping you make progress. That piece was missing, and it really became very evident to me when I started my mastermind. So in October, I started a paid mastermind, started with 5K for the year, and then upped the price, which is basically for people who are much further in the journey, right? So they're doing certain numbers and they have clear product to market fit and their experience. And so I started the mastermind there, and it's just having more access to me. And I did all of the interviews to see if they're a good fit personally. Almost everyone who joined the mastermind who was a good fit told me, I saw you on an ad, or I saw you in the Skool games community, right? So this is my lead gen, which we're talking in the other video about, or this is my effort in Skool. I saw you there, went to your YouTube channel, binged watched everything, and now I'm an Evelyn fan, right? So the amount of trust that my YouTube videos had added, I totally underestimated them. And I decided to go so serious about YouTube that I actually decided to hire an editor kind of on an ongoing basis, just to also have that pressure that there's somebody I have to deliver the material to. And so that's Benjamin, and he's probably going to make like a cute bubble where he pops up somewhere here. And he also has a YouTube channel, although, he's an editor, right? So he has a service business. You wouldn't think like, oh, why does he need a channel? But he actually also started a channel, and there he's documenting his YouTube journey from scratch. So I think that he is probably the best person right now to listen to, because he's helping me behind the scenes with all of these things on YouTube, considerations about video topics and titles and thumbnails. And then he also does the editing. And on his channel, he's documenting his YouTube journey from scratch. So if you want to start your YouTube channel, I think that's really, really great to tune into that. I just want to also say how I had done my YouTube videos before, I unlisted them, or before editor. I really was just turning on the camera and I was just documenting what I do, and I would just share my thoughts. So I think before you don't do anything because you think you have to script everything and you have to think everything through perfectly and everything needs to be perfectly edited, it doesn't have to be, right? My YouTube channel massively contributed to my business before I ever had any sort of professional editing. And to be frank, I also didn't do my own editing. So when you these days create YouTube videos, I think Loom is one of the best go-tos. Just turn it on. It's not so intimidating because you're just in a small bubble. You can share what you have on your screen, whether that's slides or you have a tutorial. And then when you have the Loom Pro version, they actually have a cool AI feature where they edit out all of the ums and ah filler words and the silences. So if you're not in the position to afford an editor just now, or if you feel like, oh, I'm overthinking it, I should record and I should record and I should record, and you just keep pushing it, just commit to one Loom, whatever, a week. Also make sure to include that in your email and in your post on Skool, right? So that's how it all ties together. A lot of the posts that I did in the Skool community eventually were either inspired based on emails or they became emails. So that's how that synergy was flowing together. And often they would have a YouTube video in there that I would also send out to my email list, right? So people on my email list would be nurtured a lot more because they had the YouTube videos, and people on Skool also will be nurtured a lot more and really build that relationship with me because they checked out my YouTube channel and they could just listen to me and experience me and see the value that I can give, on a different level. So these three together, I think, is brilliant in the next year. If you only can do one, do email. If you have zero budget to get started, consider Skool because you don't, this is completely organically, right? You don't have to invest anything but your time there, and you'll learn so much through the lines of just being a valuable member of the communities themselves. I hope you found this helpful, and I see you in another video.